is sport. I is sport. I are sport. I am the ball. I am the bat. I am the chili. I am the bat. G'day World Wide Web, Lew Dub with another edition of Personal Best.
Yeah, g'day World Wide Web. Today we're going to be previewing the Group 3 Bart Cummings Stakes. I think it's Saturday, the 2nd of October. It looks like the track will be a soft 6, some rain expected, and there has been a little bit of rain today in Melbourne. And the purpose of today's show is to preview the race. We're going to take you through each and every single runner and give you a good bit of background on every one of them. We'll also take a look at the odds. We'll get a look at the latest info on the order of entry, and we might also take a look at a speed map regarding tomorrow's race. Actually, we might take a look at the odds. It's probably the best thing to do. There we are. So using Wishbet's website, looking through the field, we've got Solino at $61 on their fixed odds. Dawn Patrol, the Lloyd Williams owned runner, or trained, he doesn't train it actually. $11. Knight's Order, the Brisbane Cup winner, $16. Pondus, back out here after some success in 2020. He's $7. Ahmad, $12. Respected. Master of Wine, $41. Doesn't seem to be himself at the moment. Paul Guillaume from France, $15. Miami Bound at $31. Sheraz, another of the imports. This will be Sheraz's first run in Australia. It is $5. Grand Promenade, $4.60. Realm of Flowers seems to have gone off a little. It was right up there in Melbourne Cup betting. Now it's $26 for this race, the Bart Cummings. Of course, Realm of Flowers doesn't really need to win tomorrow. Charlie Rose is $7.50. Mosh Music is $31. Good Fight is $41. Sweet Thomas, the Plugger, $71. And Long Arm is $31. That's another foreign raider, but he's been here for a good 9 months or so. All right, let's get stuck into the field now. We'll start with Solino. We all know that he's the Sydney Cup winner of this year. He's got barrier 4, carrying 58 kilos. That's something very different to his Sydney Cup win, where he only carried about 50 kilos. Now, he's got the services of Damien Lane, 5-year-old gelding, so maybe able to improve on his feats in the Sydney Cup. But to me, seems like he really needs 2 miles, maybe even more. His best result prior to the Sydney Cup was a 3 lengths 5th in the Group 3 Manion over 2,400 metres, and in his spring campaign he's had 2 starts. He's 13th of 13 and 8th of 12 recently in the Kingston Town Stakes, which was won by She's Ideal. She's running in the Metropolitan tomorrow over 2,400 metres. He is a shorter start in the Melbourne Cup, and he's another horse that really doesn't need to win. So personally, I've got him ruled out of my first place getters, and probably not going to figure even in exotics. So next up, number 2 is Dawn Patrol. Dawn Patrol is a 4-year-old gelding. It's had 10 starts, 2 wins, 4 placings. Dawn Patrol will have the services of Jai McNeil, famously rode Twilight Payment to victory in last year's Melbourne Cup. He's in form this year. This racing season, of course, it only started at August, but he is having some good success at Flemington as well. Now, he's had 2 starts only in 2021. He was narrowly beaten at Curragh in the Group 3 over 2,012 metres on a good track. That was back in June. Now, his first run in Australia was at Moonee Valley, 11th of 13, over 1,600 metres in the Group 2 fan. Of course, not his distance preference, but I thought he was very disappointing. They've given some excuses for that Moonee Valley performance, that he didn't cope with the tight track. A lot of horses don't. Moonee Valley is very tight, but yeah, for me, can't really go into that one with much confidence. Next up is Knight's Order. He's a 6-year-old gelding. He won the Brisbane Cup. That's a 2-mile race for those unaware. In total, 18 starts, 7 wins, 2 placings. He's another foreign import. He carried 55.5 kilos to that Brisbane Cup win in June. He'd won prior to that in the Winter Cup over 2,400 metres, and the track, of course, was soft. Very similar surface to tomorrow. Last year, in his first Australian prep, he was able to win the Tats Cup over 2,400 metres, another soft track. And his first run back, this campaign was a creditable 9th in the Group 3 Naturalism 2 weeks ago. A lot of horses running today were in the Naturalism. I thought he worked very hard early on, and if you get a chance, maybe go and have a look at a replay of that race. It's on my own channel, Lew Dub's Personal Best. That's the Naturalism, Group 3. Okay, we move on to the next runner, Pondus, another Lloyd Williams connected horse, wearing those famous navy blue colours with a white hoop sleeve. Now, one of his runners will wear a blue cap. Just keep an eye out for that tomorrow. So, this one's a 5-year-old gelding. It's had 17 starts, 3 wins and 8 placings. Had a bit of success in Australia late last year. Ran a decent second in the Group 3 2,600 metre Queen Elizabeth at Flemington behind True Self. 3 runs in Ireland this year over 2,000 and 2 by 2 times 2,800. The best result was a last start second in the Group 2 Curragh Cup over 2,800. Now, the winner and the other place getters from that race have done nothing significant since then. And Pondus, there is a fair bit of boom about the guy. I'm not all that sold. A lot of horses have been set for this race, something of a grand final for them, and Pondus, not the best preparation. I think one of his starts, he was scheduled to start earlier in this campaign, and he was scratched on vet's advice. So again, one that I can't go into with a great deal of confidence. Next up, Ahmad. You might hear it pronounced differently. 7-year-old gelding. Jockey will be Ben Allen. 12% strike rate this racing season. Hasn't had a winner at Flemington, but he's only had 2 rides there. That's this year. His all-time record is 8%. Okay, trained by Philip Stokes. Ahmad, barrier 9, usually goes forward. Could have some trouble getting across. Now, for Ahmad's form, he's won in winter this year over 2,600. Had plenty of people talking, but it was a small 5-horse field, including Persan, who was out of form, and Mohican Heights. Since then, he's had 1 start in spring. That was an 8th in the Group 3 Naturalism over 2,000. And he had no excuse for not finishing closer. I thought he had a much easier run than Grand Promenade, but wasn't able to go past Grand Promenade in the straight. His previous runs in the UK yielded good wins over 3,200 metres. They were on synthetic tracks, and he had a win in the US over 3,200 metres on a firm track. Ahmad, plenty of talk, but No great evidence to prove that it's going to be greeting the winning post first. Next up is Master of Wine. This one is a horse that's out of form. He's formed this preparation. He's actually had 3 starts. It's gotten progressively worse, with his last start finishing 10th of 12, and he was 9 lengths off the pace in the Group 3 Kingston Town Stakes. That was 2 weeks ago. Something seems amiss. Now, usually races at the back of the field, and with barrier 7, he'll probably hard to pick where he'll settle tomorrow. They're probably in 2 minds as to what to do themselves. And Master of Wine, I'm just looking at the order of entry. He's 58th. Hard to see him making his way into the Melbourne Cup field. Port Guillaume is next. He's a 4-year-old gelding, and he's carrying 56 kilos. Daniel Stackhouse, the jockey, likes to race at the rear of the field, and he's shown no gate speed in Australian starts, though he did win Group 2 in France, leading all the way. 2 starts in Australia, 4th of September and the 18th of September. The most impressive was his last start, 6th, in the Group 3 Naturalism over 2,000 metres. He settled well back, but made up plenty of ground over the closing stages. His best win in France was the Group 2 Prix Hocart over 2,500 metres in August 2020. That was on soft ground. He's going to be coming from barrier 10. I'm not sure. I doubt that they're going to take a gamble and try to get forward in this race. I saw it last year in the Bart Cummings. If there's a surge, they've only got about a maximum of 300 metres before that first turn. And if you're coming from barrier 10 trying to get forward, you might find yourself 3 and 4 wide around the entire first turn. So that's Port Guillaume. Still wouldn't be surprised to see that one running home quite rapidly and be there in the finish. Miami Bound, a 5-year-old mare, 55.5 kilos. The jockey is Daniel Moore. He recently picked up a Group 1 win with Sheraz, and his win rate this year is 8.7%. Flemington all time, not that good, and for this season hasn't had too many successes. Likely to be shuffled back with its inside barrier, number 3, the 3 barrier. Last start failed in the Group 3 Naturalism, finishing last, had no excuses, and prior was 12th of 15 at the same track over 1,700. Maybe it's an issue with the track. Was going fine back in autumn and ran a reputable 3rd in the Sydney Cup, but really not sure where this one's head is at the moment. We might take a bit of a break, and I'll come back with the rest of the field, starting with Sheraz. Okay.
Get locked and loaded with WishBet. WishBet. There's a new sheriff in town.
Now we're talking about Sheraz, a 4-year-old gelding, and this horse is really shortening up in the betting. Damien Oliver is on board. Trainer is Chris Waller. Well, there's one thing that is against the horse, is it tends to race at the rear of the field, and I'm not sure how much pace is going to be on tomorrow. There's only really 2 that are definite leader types. We'll go through it. He's not raced in Australia. His last start win was the 25th of June in a listed race over 3,000 metres. That was back in France at Chantilly. And prior to that, he was second to the Group 2 Prix Kerguelen winner, Scazino. And Scazino did beat Sheraz by 4 lengths on the day, But Scazino also, along with one other horse, romped the field in the Prix-Kergolais, had a gap between the first two and third place of about 5 lengths. We'll get to those replays. Well, actually, let's take a look at it right now.
First we see Sheraz in the Prix de Barberville, a Group 3 over 3,100 metres in May. The 4-year-old gelding is in the green colours. Settling at the rear, trailing Scazino. He's in the predominantly yellow with some smatterings of green. Scazino went on to win the Group 2 Prix-Kergolais after this, so he gives the race plenty of credibility. So a good effort by Sheraz to clear out from the third place getter by more than 6 lengths. Next up, he's at Chantilly in a listed race, slightly lower grade. It's only 3,000 metres this time. This is a race from the 25th of June, and again, we'll fast forward through the middle stages and pick them up in the straight. Yes, so we can see Sheraz going through the gears and clearing away. He eventually took the race by 4.5 lengths, carrying 57 kilograms.
Yes, Sheraz. If that horse continues on an upward trajectory, very hard to see it getting beaten. Now we'll get back to the rest of the field. It's Grand Promenade, also one of the main contenders. Grand Promenade is a 5-year-old gelding, had a lot of success throughout the Aussie winter. In total, 18 starts, 7 wins, 6 placings. They've got John Allen on board. He's got a 19% wing strike rate, going very well this year. Flemington, not so good, but all time he's got 8%. Grand Promenade's got a suitable barrier, 6, he'll get forward, probably be making the pace, or Knight's Order. He's been winning, he's been winning for fun throughout the winter. He was second in the Andrew Ramsden, behind the in-form Realm of Flowers. Since freshening up, he's been second at Moonee Valley and then 5th at Caulfield in that Group 3 naturalism. He was in a wide barrier. They start on a corner and he just really had no hope with the amount of extra ground he had to cover, and still ran on, beat home Ahmad. So for me, I don't see how Ahmad is going to finish ahead of Grand Promenade. And they're saying, according to the betting, that Ahmad is some kind of chance. No way it beats home Grand Promenade. Next up, Realm of Flowers. This horse, a 5-year-old mare, 54.5 kilos, barrier 15, usually gets back anyway. You can see that down the right column. The jockey will be Damien Thornton. He's going along at 10.9% this year. And had a few wins, one maybe, at Flemington this year, this racing season. So she was right in the betting for the Melbourne Cup. I think she's still around 17 after that Andrew Ramsden win and a good performance in the Sydney Cup. But since returning, she just hasn't looked the same, according to me, that is. And what's happened? She's finished 4 lengths 12th in the Group 2 1600 metre Feen. and 7 lengths 14th in the naturalism. Is it just that they've kept her fitness levels down and just a gradual build up toward the Melbourne Cup, of which she is guaranteed a starting spot? Well, ask the Friedman boys. I think it's Anthony and Sam in control of that. She may have gone off. I can't have her in my, not even in the exotics, a first 4 bet. Okay, Charlie Rose, the star of a documentary on racing.com at the moment. This is another mare. She's carrying 54 kilos. They've got Dean Holland on board. He's got a nice strike rate for this season, 14.7, but again, has not had a winner at Flemington of only 7 rides this season. Charlie Rose has had 13 starts, 5 wins, 5 placings. She usually gets forward, may struggle from the far barrier. It's a field of 16, drawn in barrier 20, but due to the 4 emergencies, will end up starting from 16. Last start was 3rd in the Group 3 Naturalism. I advise you guys go and watch the replay of the Naturalism on the Lew Dub's Personal Best YouTube channel. So in that race, Charlie Rose was straight to the fence from a good barrier. She raced on pace, but she was unable to quicken sufficiently in the straight to improve her position. Still finished 3rd. The start prior was something similar. She finished 3rd. She was cramped for space in the straight. That was over the shorter distance of 1700. Look, she's going along well. She could be there. Just due to her racing pattern, she does make herself available, for want of a better word. And yeah, I wouldn't leave her out of the exotics, although barrier 16, it's hard to see. Again, if they push forward, they're going to use up a lot of fuel and could still remain 3 and 4 wide around that first turn. Next up, Mosh Music, a 7-year-old mare. 54 kilos, they're down to the minimum there. Declan Bates, 18% strike rate this year. That's very good. Mosh Music generally settles somewhere worse than midfield, but early in 2021 did race handy and have success in those small fields, albeit. Last start was surprising for me, 3.5 lengths only, 7th in the Group 3 Naturalism. And the best prior to that was a win in listed 2600 metres Roy Higgins in February this year. Back in 2019, the horse was showing lots of potential, winning 4 races on the trot over distances from 2000 up to 2500. So, not useless, but just don't see her having the class, and certainly to suddenly improve to this level at her age. Next up, the Good Fight. Only got the 3 to go through. 7-year-old gelding, total of 34 starts, 5 wins, had 12 placings. Generally settles worse than midfield. Get a bit further back at times. Zach Spain, he's the jockey. He's working at 13% at the moment. Raced last weekend after a 7-week freshen up and was 3 lengths 4th to Luna Flair in the listed Harry White at Mornington. Has had best results on softer heavy ground, but did finish well behind Knight's Order in the listed Winter Cup in June of this year. The Good Fight will be dropping 4 kilos in weight since its last start, so that gives it some chance of finishing higher up the order. Again, this is a higher level than the listed Harry White. Next up, the old stager, Sweet Thomas, a 9-year-old gelding. They've got their money's worth out of this fella. He's won about $500,000 worth of prize money, 59 starts, 7 wins, 15 placings. He's got barrier 14. Excuse you. And that will not be an issue for this fella. He does settle back towards the rear. He was 5 lengths third in the Brisbane Cup in June this year. Next start, he won the 3,200 metre Stayers Cup in Sydney. Significantly less prize money for that race, of course, but this guy's a real 2-miler. Since a 7-week let-up, he's been 4 lengths 6 in the Wyong Cup, that's over 2,100, and then he was 5 lengths 11th in the Group 3 Newcastle Cup, which was run along at a pretty slow pace, and I think he's excused for that. Finished well back in the field. He's going to appreciate the sting out of the ground, but yeah, I think he really needs 2 miles or more. Exotics only. Next is Long Arm. Last but not least, it's a 5-year-old gelding. We'll start from barrier 2. The jockey is Craig Newitt, who was once right at the top of Australian jockeys. His win strike rate this year is 5.2%. All-time record at Flemington is 8. This horse generally settles at the rear of the field, and I don't see much different tomorrow. Came to Australia in late 2020 and had his first win in his first start. That was at Flemington, where they're racing tomorrow. That was over 1,600 metres. Ended campaign with a third in the Group 2 2-mile Adelaide Cup back in March. And his first start this prep was on the 11th of September, finishing 3.5 lengths 11th of 16 at Flemington, behind Floating Artist, Defibrillate and Person. Floating Artist has gone on to win since then, so that's something in Long Arm's favour. Can't have it as one of the possible winners though. Maybe one of those running on late and picking up a minor placing. We'll take a break and then we'll come back with a look at the speed map, and we're also going to give you guys some more information on the runners' actual position in the order of entry.
Now it's easier than ever to have band.video on your iPhone. Simply go to band.video with your Safari browser. Then you click the share button at the bottom of the screen. When the menu comes up, you simply click Add to Home Screen. It will then ask you to name the app. I suggest band.video. You will now have band.video app on your home screen, despite the fact that Tim Cook tried to stop it. The globalists think you're lazy, but by taking a little bit of action, you can override them, have the app, and then tell others about it so they can get the app. So it's up to you whether you want to defy big tech and click the share buttons below on your email, on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube, however you want. Be sure and share band.video.
Okay, now we're looking at the speed map, courtesy of Racing and Sports. Now we'll just go through these runners. Now Grand Promenade and Knight's Order, they're going to be fighting it out for the lead. Any possible surprises? I don't see it. Maybe Sheraz from that barrier there. What's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I don't know if they'll even gamble trying to go forward. Realm of Flowers, Dawn Patrol. Can't see them using up fuel or gambling by trying to get forward. So Pondus in barrier 1, they've just got to be careful they don't end up right back at the rear of the field. Grand Promenade is not so uncomfortable being behind a horse, so it could end up being Knight's Order who ends up leading. Charlie Rose will have worked. Right, so if we work off something like this, I don't see any early challenges coming over 2,500. Who in this field would be supremely confident that they can put up an early challenge? Ahmad? Don't think so. Charlie Rose, possibly. But again, that's a front runner. Realm of Flowers, there's no need to smash their horse up. Celino, same deal. Now Pondus, from that one barrier, will probably be locked up and have no choice but to sit and wait. Port Guillaume. You're looking at that. I just don't see it being a race for the back markers. And I'm pretty confident that Knight's Order and Grand Promenade can both stick on sufficiently. Once they turn for home, horses like Mosh Music will start to feel the pinch. Ahmad, a long arm. If he's good enough, he gets his chance tomorrow. Looking at this speed map, Dawn Patrol, I'm not that confident in the horse from what it's done. Good fight. So Sheraz would be the one that makes some early move and will be forced wide around that home straight. Porky Arm will be looking for some luck, as will Pondus. And they're going to be chasing down a pretty good 1.5 mile horse in Grand Promenade. I think I've got to stick with Grand Promenade. So finally, Grand Promenade to win, and filled by Knight's Order, Sheraz. Can Charlie Rose really stick on? That's the question. Long arm. Just arranging these in the most likely finishing where they're going to be fighting it out. Salino, I don't see him being primed for this. Port Guillaume and Pondus may run on. And Long Arm as well, somewhere fighting on. These others, I don't think Salino has really been set for this race, nor is Sweet Thomas. Well, he's just not suitable for this distance. Miami Bound, out of form. Realm of Flowers, out of form or just not fit. Master of Wine, out of form. Mosh Music, hard to throw away. Hasn't really done too much wrong. Dawn Patrol, yet to prove itself here. Try to narrow it down a little further. I'll just go through those runners too and their position in the order of entry. It's a must win for Grand Promenade tomorrow because he's 61st in the order of entry. Easier if I just tell you which ones are into the field already. Salino, Miami Bound, Realm of Flowers, those three are in. Knight's Order, probably. The rest have got work to do in order to qualify. Okay, so that's it. I'll stick with Grand Promenade. He's been reliable through the winter and especially over this distance of 1.5 miles. Now before we finish off, we'll take a look at a few of the upcoming Stayers features. Okay, on the 2nd of October, that's tomorrow. Yep, you got the Metropolitan running and the Turnbull Stakes at the same time as the Bart Cummings. On the 9th of October, 1 week away, the Herbert Power, another of those races that's going to allow horses to qualify for the Melbourne Cup. It's not automatic, but a Group 2 win definitely going to put you up the order of entry. On the 10th of October, it's the Kyoto Daisho 10 as they head towards their Japan Cup in November. That's a 1.5 mile race, so a good warm up there. And the 16th of October, we have the Caulfield Cup. It's another of our huge handicap races. The 16th of October, there's also the Long Distance Cup, along with another of those Champions Day races at Ascot. And I hope I've found you, or helped you find the winner of tomorrow's race. Maybe you've seen a flaw in the way that I've come up with this. Maybe you'll put an exotic bet on, just as I will be doing. All right, check the odds and pick a winner.